Hello, everyone, and welcome to Limitless Gaming Esports coverage of Limitless Formula Racing, the Thursday Formula 4 edition. I am your commentator for today. My name is Kem, and I would like to thank everyone for coming to this live stream and broadcast. If you have not subscribed to the channel as yet, make sure you do that. And if you did not check out the previous race that happened 2 days ago for the Tuesday Limitless 2 race, go and check that out. It was quite a chaotic race at the Baku circuit, as there was, I believe it was 5 safety cars that happened during that race, and there was variable weather conditions, so it was a lot of chaos and a lot of strategies that had to take place. So it was an interesting race, though. So make sure you go and check that out. And at this time, I would like to introduce my co-commentator. It is not Big Weir, as it usually is on Tuesdays. Today, I will be joined by the Apex Finley, who was a LFR champ of season 2. I believe it was Tuesday, was it not?
Monday.
Monday. Okay, my bad. So Monday. How are you doing, Apex?
I'm okay. Bit of a downgrade from Big Weir, isn't it? But I'll try my best.
It's your words, not mine. I mean, I do enjoy doing the broadcasts with Jason as well. It is quite fun to do. So sure, as we are just getting ready to go into the lobby, and we're getting ready for the one-shot qualifying. So the format for today's race is going to be a one-shot quali followed by a 25% sprint, in which the top 10 will be getting the normal F1 points, and then followed by that will be a reverse grid race of 50%, which, so it'll be a reverse of the runners as they finish in the 25% sprint.
It should be interesting. Hopefully have the same amount of excitement as we had in the other 2 days this week. Maybe less safety cars, but
yep.
I'm sure it'll deliver.
Yep. So it's just approximately 8 seconds until the drivers go out on track for the one-shot quali. And in the practice session, actually, just before this one-shot quali, as we are now underway, it was actually Anthony of the Porsche team who was the fastest in the practice session, followed by Ibrad of the Toyota team, and then Kingsholm of the Ford team.
So what I have noticed is, going down the straight, Ibrad was straight into first, so he must be running lower downforce than everyone else. It's interesting to know for the race. I'm sure we'll see lots of overtakes from him if he gets the opportunity. James is retired.
Yeah, which is, I'm not sure if he crashed or what happened with him, but he will be starting at the back. So I'm currently riding on board with Anthony of the Porsche team, as it is DRS wide open for him as he goes through the second DRS zone of the circuit. Now currently riding on board with Ibrad of the Toyota team.
Just watch Crossfire's run wide at the long right-hander there. I don't think he invalidated, I think he got away with it.
So currently riding on board with Crossfire Strikes of the Ford team, as it is powered down. And yes, it will be Crossfire Strikes who gets pole position with a 126.424 for the Ford team. So well done by Crossfire Strikes.
0.2 to second as well, so quite a margin.
So I'll just go down the starting order for the 25% sprint. So it will be Crossfire Strikes who comes in first place, Ibrad of Toyota in second, Anthony of the Porsche team in third, King David in fourth, Kingsholm in fifth, BKS in sixth, Robin in 7th, Azure in 8th, Walter in 9th, Mr. Basil in 10th, Aeon Blades in 11th, Nemvidich in 12th, Flea 1996 in 13th, Shug's Life in 14th, Snooker in 15th, Atix, who did not finish the qualifying, in 16th, Milan Massimo, who got disqualified, in 17th, and James and Liam, who did not set times, and Liam actually had a qualifying ban for that one-shot quali, so he is starting at the back of the grid.
As Big Way says in chat, Mr. Basil in the top 10, I'm sure he'll be happy with that.
So as we await for the cars to get onto the circuit, and I believe there will be a formation lap, so they're just getting their setups ready.
Be an interesting one on the strategy, because in 25% races you can pick quite early to go for a massive undercut, so I'm sure we'll see some people do that. Maybe some people go long.
Yeah. We'll see what it is that takes place, and it'll also be interesting to see who out of the runners that are outside of the top 10, what tires they will be starting on for this 25% 14-lap sprint. So as I get the settings...
Only 2 on the mediums. Shugs and James.
Yep, so Shug's Life of the Ford team is starting on the mediums, as well as James of the Bentley team is starting on the mediums. Everyone else has opted for the soft compound tire. As we are riding on board with crossfire strikes of the Ford team.
Great qualifying for Ford. They've got 3 drivers in the top 5.
Oh yes, wow.
And obviously their other member Shugs down in P14 on the alternate strategy, so be a good race for them.
So I'll just run through the starting order for this 25% sprint again. So it's Crossfire Strikes of the Ford team in first, Ibrad of the Toyota team in second, Anthony of the Porsche team in third, King David of the Ford team in fourth, King's Home of the Ford team in fifth, BKS of the Porsche team in sixth. We have Robin of the Bentley team in seventh, Azure F Wings of the Monster Energy team in eighth, Walter Rorel of the Bentley team in ninth, Mr. Basil of the Monster Energy team in P10, Aeon Blades of the Toyota team in 11th. You have Nemvidich of the Porsche team in 12th. Flea, another Porsche driver, in 13th. You have Shug's Life of the Ford team in 14th. Snooker Amel of the Monster Energy team in 15th. Addicts of the Toyota team in 16th. I do not believe he is in the lobby as it is right now, but we'll see what it is that happens with him. Milan Massimo of the Toyota team in 17th, James of the Bentley team in 18th, and finally Liam S. of the Monster Energy team rounds out the grid for this sprint qualifier.
I actually think Snooker spun on the formation lap, so he's got to get back in position and crossfires, and the guys at the front will be waiting for quite a while on the grid.
Yep, so it was Snooker that did line up last. So as we are ready for the 5 red lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it is away we go for this 14-lap sprint qualifier, as Atix has already made up 3 positions going up to 13th, and Liam S. has also made up 6 positions now, as we have yellow flags in sector 1.
Barry's round.
Yeah, it's Barry, and was Snooker involved in that as well?
I saw him going very slow at turn 1. He may have hit someone, I'm unsure. And now Flea
is out. And it is virtual safety car conditions, as Flea is already out.
Just when straight at turn 4. I'm unsure what happened there.
And now it's a full course safety car, as there were a couple 5-second penalties that took place as well for severe collisions. So I'm going to ask you, Apex, do you believe anybody is going to pit under this first lap safety car?
Yeah, you never know. Maybe it might be worth Mr. Basil and Snook at the back maybe rolling the dice. They're in the same team. So
Yeah.
it may be worth them splitting the strategy, maybe. You never know. And the guys who've got penalties, of course, it'll probably be worth them pitting and getting rid of those penalties.
Right.
And all 3 of those guys are on the soft, so they could go to mediums and maybe stretch it to the end. Just give them a massive advantage if they could. Obviously, if there isn't another safety car, which is a high possibility there could be.
Yep. So I'm going to ride on board with Crossfire Strikes of the Ford team and see if he pulls the trigger. And yep. And no, he dummies.
He fakes it. King David's in from third. King David and King Sean both in.
Alright, so I will go to the tires.
Ooh, we have a lot pitting actually. More than I thought.
Yep, so Azure Wings continues. King's Home is in for a set of mediums.
I think they're all going for the mediums, the guys who are pitting. They should go to the end. I wouldn't count out another safety car, so maybe mediums is probably the best side to go on to. They can pit for softs later on in the race if there's another safety car. Interestingly, Azure decided to not serve his penalty in the pit lane, which I think would probably be a bit of a mistake from him.
Yeah, that's an interesting call.
Maybe hoping for another safety car. Attics, who I don't think he's even in the race. He's up into P4.
Right. So yeah, this is interesting. The Monster Energy driver of Azure did not pit under this safety car, and unless he believes there's going to be another one, unless he decides to pit now just to have one lap fresher tires, albeit it will not be too advantageous as they're under safety car conditions. It's going to be interesting to see what it is that he does.
Yeah, maybe he knew he would have dropped to last anyway. I don't know. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't pit though.
So currently riding on board with Crossfire Strikes as he is behind the safety car as we are on lap 2 of this 14-lap sprint qualifier.
I think just over half the runners pitted, and there's another penalty for BKS getting involved with the AI of Attics, or who's actually back in the race now.
Yeah, so it seems like Addix is having some connection issues. So it's going to be expected. I'm going to ride on board with BKS. I'm expecting that he will be going into the pits to serve this
You'd
penalty.
think so. Crossfires fakes it again and BKS stays out. So does Azure.
Wow.
So obviously the 2 guys who started on medium stayed out. Interesting to see 5 soft runners stay out. I didn't expect that.
Right, so you're saying that you didn't expect Shugs and James to stay out?
No, I thought they were going to stay out because on the mediums, but the softs had thought to pit, especially BKS and Azure who have penalties.
Right.
Maybe not Crossfires, as he probably wants to hold the lead and not get caught in any incidents, but I have a feeling they may have made the wrong strategy, and Attics has overtaken BKS, and now they've hit each other again. And they'll probably get another penalty, maybe. Unless it was just desync, I don't know. They look like they...
Oh, and Addix has hit...
Again.
He's hit BKS off the track. Wow, this is...
another penalty now.
This
They'll be hoping the safety car stays out another lap, but I expect it'll come in.
Yeah, so BKS, after being hit by Addix, and Addix has just left the session, BKS is all the way down in 15th.
10 seconds of penalties as well. Shugs overtook James. Maybe James overtook him before, I don't know. Looks like them 2 are holding position now. I assume we'll get the message that the safety car is coming in a few moments.
Yep, should be.
Yes.
Yep. So race control has indicated that the safety car will be coming in this lap. So as Crossfire Strikes will be the one setting the pace for all the drivers behind him, and he seems to be going quite quickly.
Yeah, he's quite close to the safety car, so he's going to have to back off. King David is the first one who pitted, so be interested to see his progress.
So I'm riding on board with Crossfire Strike.
Slow.
Yep, has not started, and yep, he's away now.
He's got Anthony off guard. Shug's got a great restart, but he may have to give a position back. He's already into P2.
P2, yep. And we just saw Milan Massimo is now out of this session, as I believe he may have crashed out.
Yeah, that's how the final corner, and
Shugs has gone into the wall. Luckily, has not DNF, but he has dropped all the way down to 17. As I'm currently riding on board with James, and I believe he just made an overtake on Azure Wings, and there is a multitude of cars following.
Someone's round, Robin is round in the middle sector. I think he was battling maybe around the Brad area, like the midfield, and you can't go side by side through that section of the track, unfortunately.
Oh, and on board with King's Home does the switchback on iBrad, and they are side by side, but it looks like King's Home is going to take and hold on to this 7th place position as iBrad
that was
tries.
A great move.
Yeah, that was very good by King's Home.
Coming back though.
Yep. So I'm on board with iBrad. Seems like King's Home, but you were saying that iBrad was the one that looked like he had lower set wings for his car. Yeah.
King's Home used a lot of his overtake. He's down at 65% already.
So Crossfire Strikes.
For this lap.
So Crossfire Strikes of the Ford team sets the fastest lap with a 1:30, I believe 009. I saw as iBrad has now re-overtaken, but King's Home late on the brakes, trying to fight back, and a bit of contact between the two, and iBrad goes wide, and that's going to be a few positions lost by the Toyota driver.
Liam was battling with Walter behind. I don't know whether he was already ahead, but it was either a good move or good defending from Liam behind.
So I'm currently riding on board with BKS, who's trying to make his way up the field, and he goes for a deep dive on Aeon Blades of the Toyota team and is able to make up one position to go into 10th.
Aeon went for the switchback, but on those mediums compared to the softs, he just couldn't get the traction to fight back against BKS.
And
he's making a charge.
Just seen on screen, Mr. Basil. I don't know if there were any team orders there, but Mr. Basil made his way past Snooker to go up into 13th.
Snooker's now under pressure from iBrad, who's going for a move similar to what he did against Kingshaw.
Yep.
And he makes it.
Yep. So that's iBrad of the Toyota team goes up into P14. I was currently riding on board with Walter, and he makes a bit of contact with Liam Esk ahead of him as DRS is now enabled on lap 16, lap 6 of this 14 lap sprint.
Going to go 3 wide. Both Walter and Liam have both burnt their ERS. BKS behind has got lots to go.
So who is going to come out in 8th position? DRS for Liam and DRS for BKS, and they're going around both sides of Walter, and Liam Esk and BKS make their way past, and now it's still a battle between the Monster Energy driver and the Porsche, and BKS is around, unfortunately, after making contact with Liam Esk, and that is unfortunate.
I'm sure we'll see that incident a few times. It's hard to get the move done around turn 4. You have to carry it on, but going through that section, it's too tight, and you can't go side by side, unfortunately.
Yep. As BKS also gets himself a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. So I'm currently riding on board with Azure, who looks to be putting a lot of pressure on the Bentley. I think
James might have damage. He's very slow. He was right behind King David going into turn 11. He's lost 2 seconds in one or two corners.
Yeah, I think the left end plate of his front wing is gone. And Azur makes his way past James. And King's Home is side by side with him as well as he's trying to go in the pit lane. And they collided. And oh, that is unfortunate.
Stuck in the pit lane.
Yep. That is unfortunate.
Yeah. I can't help but feel that James should have just lifted off if he wants to pit, rather than taking King's Home with him. But
yeah,
he's got damage as well now. I haven't changed his front wing.
So Addix gets himself a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. I'm currently riding on board with Mr. Basil, who started in 10th place and is currently sitting in 10th place of the Monster Energy team.
Yeah, Attic's got a penalty because he's trying to push so hard to stick with Crossfire, so he's really quick. It seems too quick for the guys behind, and he pushed too hard, got himself a penalty, used a lot of his ERS as well. He's not going to help him in his fight for P2 against Anthony.
And also Addix hasn't pitted, has he?
No, none of the top 3 have, and Azure in P5 too.
Oh wow.
I think King Davis is in a good position for the win. He's got a lot of ERS, he should be able to go to the end on those mediums, and he should have the gap behind once these guys pit.
So, currently riding on board with Ibrad, and Aeon Blaze gives way to his teammate, so Ibrad moves up into P8 as Addix of the Toyota team goes into the pits. Currently riding on board with Walter of the Bentley team. Liam Esk ahead of him has his red light flashing, his DRS wide open for Walter, and that is an easy move for the Bentley driver. Although, it seems like Liam Esk is trying to stick it down the inside, but it's not going to happen. We'll see. Oh, and Ibrad is out! Will this be a safety car? It is.
That's perfect for the front 2 and Azure 2. On the softs, who needed to make a pit stop. Attics will be gutted because he's now made his pit stop maybe a lap too early. Obviously they all have the delta to stick to, but he may lose a few positions. So if any of the medium runners will pit.
Yeah, to go on softs. They'll be rapid for the last, 4-5 laps of this race.
So, Crossfire, Anthony and Azure have to pit for the mediums because they have to use 2 different tyre compounds. So anyone who pits for the softs will have a massive advantage. But I'm sure there's not too much wear on the mediums, so someone like King David may just stay out and hold that first place, try and defend.
This is going to be interesting. As we are currently on lap 8 of this 14-lap sprint qualifier, as I'm on board with Crossfire Strikes, he dives into the pits. Will be a medium set of tires for him, as well as Anthony of the Porsche team going into the pits. King David pit!
He's going for softs, he's going aggressive.
Oh, wow.
Walter has stayed out, he's going to take the lead. Liam pits behind. Barry stays out. So we're going to have quite a jumbled up field here, I think. Crossfire comes out P4. I'm sure he'll think that he can win this now. He'll be confident. Anthony, who is in the next guy on fresh tyres, 2 places
and Mr. Basil's out!
He's hit someone. He hit Aeon.
Oh my. Drama and more drama in this 14-lap sprint. What is happening?
Lauren in the chat said, "Go Basil, go."
Well, that's so for the 50% race. Mr. Basil is out of this sprint qualifier.
I think obviously the safety car is pretty much stopped on track, so maybe this just slowed down. Barry didn't expect it, hit the back of Aeon, who's now got a penalty, which I don't think is probably not his fault. He's got 15 seconds actually, Walter has 10. So them guys are going to drop back massively. May even see them pit. And now Snooker's got a penalty.
So both Anthony and Snooker got penalties for one collided with the other.
I think the safety car will stay out one more lap, maybe two. BKS is quite far behind.
Yeah, so as it is, the front runner of Walter is on 6-lap-old mediums. I'm wondering, as you were saying, as he has 10 seconds worth of penalties, does it make sense to come in for a pair of soft tires and serve one of those 5-second penalties?
Yeah, there's still a chance there could be another safety car if there's a incident on the first lap. As soon as this comes in, there could be another safety car.
That is true.
Which means if he stays out, he's only going to lose more.
Yep, so
Aeon pits, I think.
Yep, Aeon is in the pits.
Just one less driver for Crossfire to overtake. I'm sure he'll win this race now.
So
I think Anthony's pitted as well.
Yes, Anthony has pit as well. I'm wondering if it's a new front wing for him. If no, it's not
just serving that penalty.
Yep. Aeon Blades though got a new front wing for his Toyota car.
Yeah, he probably hit the back of Walter when Mr. Basil hit the back of him as well, so
and
bit of a domino effect there.
King's Home is in the pits, and he served his 5-second penalty as well.
Yep, he's last, so no reason not to. Shug's pitted as well. I'm unsure for the reason, but you might as well if you're at the back. Not going to lose anything.
Yep.
So Anthony was P2 out of the people who pitted for fresh tyres. And he's pitted, so King David on them softs is 9P2, so it's probably going to be a straight fight between him and Crossfires for the win. But he's got 2 cars in between them that he needs to get through.
So we are currently on lap 10 of this 14-lap sprint qualifier, and Walter Rorel of the Bentley team is leading this race. He has made up 8 positions from the start of the race, albeit he does have 10 seconds worth of penalties to his name, but he is in first place as it stands. Crossfire Strikes of the Ford team is in second. Robin, who has made up 4 places from the start in the Bentley team, as a safety car is in this lap, is in third. And Snooker of the Monster Energy team has made up 11 places and is currently in fourth, albeit he has 1 5-second penalty to his name. So as Walter getting a bit of heat into the tires, and it looks like he is a bit of a go and stop, but that's actually aided Crossfire Strikes. Will this move be able to be made by Crossfire into turn 1? And yes, Crossfire Strikes makes his way into first, right out of turn 1. As we have yellow flags in sector 1 is Robin, who is falling down the field of the Bentley team. And Walter is now under pressure from King David. It looks like James made a move on Snooker to go into 5th position. King David, as Walter goes wide and there's a bit of contact.
He sent it down the inside.
Yep, and that's King David up into 2nd position, and we will see if he'll be able to chase down his teammate, Crossfire Strikes, for that 1st place position.
He's made the move on the 3 cars that are in between them, now he's got to chase him down if he wants to win, or will he just hold position and get a 1-2 in the sprint for the team.
So potential team orders for that Monster Energy team as Azur made his way past Snooker, BKS, and King's Home also, it seems, making moves up the grid. As Aeon Blades is around, as he made contact with, I believe he made contact with Nem Vidic.
Yep.
And King's Home with another late dive goes into 9th. And now 8th.
Great overtake.
As he overtakes BKS, and a 5-second penalty for BKS for corner cutting.
assume he tried to avoid an incident. He was around the Nemvedic area when that incident happened, so maybe he was trying to avoid something that happened there, I don't know. No, Nemvedic just spun around Snooker. He's in the gravel at turn at 3. And he's going to drop all the way down.
That's unfortunate for the Monster Energy driver. So currently riding on board with James, who has his Bentley teammate of Walter ahead of him. Will Walter let him through?
Yeah, I think he did. Didn't fight that at all.
So that's another position made up by James to go up into 3rd position.
You just see if Walter can sacrifice his own race, hold the guys up behind, so James can get a 5-second gap to all the guys behind, and even with the penalty, still get P3.
Yep, currently riding on board with Anthony, and he's trying to make it around the outside of Azure, and he makes it happen. So that is 6th place for the Porsche driver of Anthony.
King Sean Francis, that P7, he's going for it.
Yep, he's going for it, and he has made that move as well. So Azure has lost 2 places in a matter of approximately 10 seconds, as he is now in 8th. As King David sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:28.352. Currently riding on board with Liam Esk as he is lining up a move on Walter of the Bentley team, and
gets him quite comfortably at Walter.
Yeah,
he's on the outside. Anthony's getting involved too.
As well, and Walter's around. That is unfortunate for the Bentley driver of Walter.
So I think King Sean is just letting Anthony do all the hard work and then following him through on the guys in front. He was well outside the top 10 and started the safety car restart.
Yep, so this is a mighty comeback drive by King's Home of the Ford team.
The front, I think King David has the pace to overtake Crossfires if he wants, but I don't think they'll risk too much.
So currently riding on board, yep, I'll go to the front 2 runners. Both Ford drivers actually jump to Anthony as will he make this move around the outside? Liam Esk is fighting it back.
Liam's red light was flashing at the end of the straight. He's got no ERS, but he's not going to go down that fight, but he's lost that position and now he's got the overtake king on his back.
And I'm riding on board with the overtake king of King's Home, so we will see if he will be able to make this move on Liam Esk. Oh, and this is we're on the last lap of this sprint qualifier.
It's going to have to be in turn.
Oh, and King David is around! King David is around!
And that is James. Position.
Yep,
he won't lose much. He'll get that P2 back, I think, because James has a penalty. But I wonder if he made contact with Crossfire, or maybe he just spun by himself.
Not too sure. And yep, it's side by side between King David and James. I don't know if there's a point of exactly. I don't know if there's a point of fighting this too much when you have P2 guaranteed, even if you finish behind James.
Probably wants to move regardless. King Sean is going for it down the inside.
Yep, and once again, the man who is the king of being late on the brakes, King's Home. As it looks like there's a bit of contact between...
Liam didn't get DRS, so it'd be comfortable for him into turn 11.
Yep, so P5 for King's Home. This is a mighty drive by him.
He'll get promoted to P4 as well, because James has a penalty. Liam's coming back.
Is coming back? I did not expect this.
More contact. They've both got a similar amount of DRS, going to be side by side into the final corner. It's going to be a drag race to the line. Liam cuts the corner.
And Liam is around. So Crossfire finishes in first. King David in second. Anthony in third.
Liam coming back onto the track, hit Shugs, and now Scotty is out. It's chaos at the final corner. Liam gets back to P8. And Walter, out of nowhere, manages to get P10 unless Robin can steal it off him.
Yes, he does.
Snook across the line now to round off. What was it? Chaotic race.
Chaotic.
Only 14 laps. We've got another 29 to go.
So the driver of the day, as determined by the game for this sprint qualifier, is James of the Bentley team. As there you see Crossfire Strikes, who finishes first in this sprint qualifier. So I'll go down the order of the finishers for this qualifier. It is Crossfire Strikes of the Ford team in first, King David of the Ford team reserve for today in second, Anthony of the Porsche team in third, King's Home of the Ford team in fourth, Azure in fifth, James in sixth, Shug's Life in seventh, Liam Esk in eighth, BKS in ninth, Robin FR to round out the point scorers for this sprint qualifier in 10th place. 11th is Walter, Aeon Blades in 12th, Snooker in 13th, Nem Vidic in 14th, and then the start of the runners who did not finish is Mr. Basil, Addix, Ibrad, Milan Massimo, and Flea 1996. So good points for the Ford team in this sprint quali.
Yeah, they had a great qualifying, managed to translate that into the race.
That's impressive. James also started in 18th and finished 6th. Shug's Life started in 14th, finished 7th, and Liam Esk, who had a quali ban, started 19th and finished 8th. So well done by those three drivers.
Shows anything can happen. You got Ibrad who started P2 down in P17, and the guys at the back got to the front. So sprint really did live up to our expectations.
All right, so as the lobby is set up for the 50% official race that will be taking place at this Bahrain International Circuit, we will just be muting ourselves for a second as the lobby gets set up, and then we will be back shortly. Stay tuned. All right, everyone. So it looks like we're going to be starting a new lobby for this race. So as soon as I get an invite, I will go into the new lobby, and then I'll keep the stream going, and then we'll just wait for the race to commence. So stay tuned. Sorry, Apex, are you there?
Yes.
All right, so while we wait for the lobby to get put together, we'll discuss a bit of the Monday Limitless 1 driving and races that have taken place so far. So, as for yourself, I'm just going to go through the results of the races that we have done so far. So the first question for you: how do you believe that the season has gone for you so far?
I mean, it's gone decently well. I don't think I'm P4 in the standings, so not bad. I probably expect it to be lower if anything, but I know that I could have probably done better. I DNF the first 2 races. And although I didn't expect to be P4, to be honest, I could probably definitely be higher.
Yeah, so you had Bahrain and China were the 2 DNFs, and then so you came 8th at Azerbaijan, 2nd at Saudi Arabia, 7th at Portugal, and then 7th in the sprint qualifier at Portugal, and then 1st in the Portugal race.
Yeah. I don't even know where I finished on Monday. I think it was P7 maybe. 8,
yeah, it was
like
7th or 8th, one of the 2.
So I mean, I had quite a good spell. Saudi and Portugal. I crashed in Baku and got front wing damage, so I messed that up. I'm not very good around Spain, so P7 is probably. Well, it's better than crashing out, which
Right.
could have definitely happened.
And as for your teammate, Mr. Big Weir, he has finished in the points for every single race this season. So, first race of the season, he came in 8th. At China, he came in 4th. Azerbaijan, 7th. Saudi Arabia, he came in 5th. And Portugal, he finished 3rd. And then I believe on Monday, he finished 6th?
Finished just ahead of me.
Yeah, I believe it was 6th position.
I mean, finishing the points every race is quite hard to do in a lineup of this quality, but I wish he just finished outside the points once, so he would shut up about it.
Yeah, so the closest person to him who has finished in the points for every race would be my teammate, actually. It's Tay Pastor. So it's only the China race that he finished 13th. The rest, all of the other races, he's finished in the points as well.
Yeah, he's fighting for the title as well, so.
Yep. I can say as my teammate, he is definitely carrying the team right now. He is carrying the team. I'm just trying. I was originally supposed to be a Tuesday Limitless 2 driver, but then because I decided to do the commentary for Tuesday, I decided to move to Monday. So I'm just I'm supplementing the points that he's getting for the constructors.
I mean, you're not doing too bad. You had a good result on Monday.
Yeah, doing all right. I seem to be somewhere around like 6th to 9th in a lot of the races, and then there's one race where I was 11th and then 14th as well. So not too bad.
Yeah, consistency is key this season. You know, you're gonna have crazy races, but you can move up, but it's just constantly in the points. If anyone's constantly in the points, they'll finish quite high up in the standings.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So you have drivers like Stinos who, after this round, so going into Spain, he had 85 points. He finished, where was it, 8th or 9th on Monday? Because I think it was Vadran that was behind you, right?
Yeah, I think Stinos might have even finished outside the points. I don't know.
No, I think because it was all Limitless One drivers that finished in the points. So I think he was ninth. And then I think Civi, it was either he was ninth or 10th, and then Civi was the other one.
Yeah.
So going into that race, Stinos had 85 points, so he's either going to be on 86 or 87 points. I'm not sure if he got fastest lap. So he's still going to be leading, and then you have Tay Pastor, who finished in second place, so that's going to be 18 for him. So he's going to be 8 or 9 points behind Stinos. And it's interesting because Stinos, the way he started the season, it was not particularly good. Like, he finished, sixth and then third. I think it was a sixth place was kind of surprising from him.
Yeah, it's a massive shock, and his qualifying at the start of the season, I remember, wasn't what they expected from him. He's probably one of the quickest.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so 3 first place finishes in Azer, Saudi, and 2 actually, and then he finished first in the Portugal sprint, and then 9th. So
he's the only driver to win multiple races.
Yep, quite a few. There are a lot of people who have finished first in these first 6 races of the race for Monday Limitless One, but we are ready to get back to racing for this Thursday Formula 4 race number 6, as we just finished the sprint qualifier for this week's race, and we are now going into the 50% race at Bahrain. So we're just waiting for the cars to get back onto the circuit as they get their setups ready, and then it'll be a formation lap, and then they will be starting the race.
It's going to be interesting one. People like Anthony and Kingshawn, the overtaker skills they showed in the sprint, coming back through to take a decent position well inside the top 10, they're going to need to do that again if they want any chance of winning this race.
Mm-hmm. So as the drivers commence the formation lap, and just to remind the viewers as I get the settings, interval position change. Yep, so just to remind the viewers that it is a reverse grid from where the runners finished in that 14-lap sprint that we just went through. So Flea, who did not finish that sprint qualifier, is actually starting in first place, followed by Milan Massimo and then Ibrad.
I guess that Crossfire won the sprint, he's not in the race.
Oh yes, because I think he was saying he was having connection issues.
Right. And Attic's took part in the sprint, he's not in the race either, and then there's one more missing, because I believe we have 19 at the start of the sprint.
Crossfire, BKS, Anthony. Yeah, I'm not sure who that other driver is.
Oh, it's Nemvidic.
Oh, okay.
He said he was having internet issues as well, so...
Yep, so three of the drivers from the 14-lap sprint who are apparently having connection issues are out of this race. So we have 16 runners, and I'll just go through the field. So it is Flea of the Porsche team, who is starting on the medium compound tires, Milan Massimo of the Toyota team on the mediums, Ibrad of the Toyota team on the mediums, Mr. Basil of Monster Energy on the softs in 4th, Snooker in 5th. He will be starting on the mediums. Aeon Blades of Toyota starting 6th on the softs. Walter in 7th on the mediums. Robin in 8th on the mediums. BKS 93 of Porsche in 9th on the mediums. Liam Eskin 10th. On softs, Shugs in 11th. On softs, James of the Bentley team in 12th. On mediums, Azure F Wings of the Monster Energy team in 13th, starting on mediums. King's Home of the Ford team, starting on mediums. Anthony of the Porsche team in 15th, starting on softs. And King David rounds out the field in 16th. Will be starting on the medium compound tires. As we await the beginning of the red lights, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go for this 20-lap race at Bahrain, as it looks like Aeon Blades and Mr. Basil have made... Aeon Blades has made up 2 positions. Mr. Basil has also made up 1. As we have yellow flags, and Walter is out already.
Pretty sure he's crashed like halfway down the straight, and he's crashed at turn 1.
And there's another Toyota that's around. I think that's Ibrad.
Yes, it is. Don't know if he's got any front wing damage. He does. His right end plate is missing, I believe. It is, wow. So he'll probably have to pit. Barry's round. He's out.
And he's out as well. And I was riding on board with James, who made a phenomenal move between Liam Esk and Milan Massimo to go into 3rd. As King David has made a move on Milan Massimo to go up into 5th. Looks like Anthony made a move on Snooker to go up into 10th.
The front 2 are side by side. Aeon making the move on Flea.
So Aeon made up 1 position.
Yes, he's just overtaken Flea for the lead of the race.
And it looks like, I believe as both Azure and Anthony made a pass on Milan Massimo to go into 8th and 9th respectively, as Robin is side by side with Snooker and has made up a move on the Monster Energy driver. We have Liam Esk of the Monster Energy team going into the pits. That was Milan Massimo going into the pits as well. So we'll see.
Yep. Will pit as well. He has front wing damage.
Yep, so front wing for Liam Esk, Milan Massimo as well. And you said Ibrad as well.
Yes. Liam was running P4 in front, so that releases the 3 Ford cars to go and chase after the top 3 in a nice little group together.
So currently riding on board with James, who has made up 10 positions in a lap and a half.
Oh, he just made another overtake as well.
Yep. That is some great driving by the Bentley driver of James, as we have yellow flags in Sector 1. That is, I believe, Milan. He's currently riding on board with Anthony, almost side by side with Azure Wings of the Monster Energy team, and that is 1 place for the Porsche driver of Anthony.
He's made quite a lot of overtakes at turn 11, which is not the best spot for overtaking, but seems to be a happy place for Anthony to make their moves.
So I'm currently riding on board with King's Home, who's just following behind his teammate of King David, as Aeon Blades sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:30.589. DRS is now enabled as we commence lap 3 of this 29-lap race.
Interesting, I didn't actually look at the tyres at the start, but Aeon, Shugs, Anthony are all on the softs. Could explain why Aeon's got such a big lead out in front.
As we have yellow flags in Sector 1, it's a Monster Energy driver?
As you're this round. Got going again now.
As Flea gets,
round, that's Milan.
So Flea gets himself a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. As I'm currently riding on board with, well, all 4 drivers are hunting down each other, and Flea, who is in 3rd place, and King David is going to have the DRS going down this back straight. Will he be able to make it up to Flea in time? No, he will not.
Shugs, he's running low on the IRS, but he's going for a move on his teammate.
Yep.
And he backs out. Probably did a smart move.
Although it might make sense for Kingsholm to let Shugs through because Shugs is on the softs.
Yep, may not be able to do that in a second because Anthony is very close behind.
Yep.
Shugs, and Shugs also has very little ERS. Anthony has pretty much his full battery to play with.
So I'm riding on board with
King David.
Yep, and I'm riding on board with the aforementioned King David. Will he be able to make this move on Flea? He's trying for a little bit of a switchback. Makes contact and
Sorry, it's King Sean. Flea's out.
Flea is out as well.
I think King David may have lost a bit of his front wing in that. Yeah, he's lost the whole of his front wing, in fact.
Yep, and it's a safety car as well.
So he'll be pitting. I think Shugs and Anthony managed to escape unscathed.
So we have Azure of the Monster Energy team. He is coming out of the pits onto a pair of hard compound tires. It's going to be interesting to see, will Aeon Blades, who is currently in first, will he pit?
Penalty for Snooker. Presumably King Sean, who is going to also pit because he has front wing damage. Ibrad's in for the hards too, so him and Azure are going to try to go long here and make up all them positions that they lost with their instance at the start.
So I'm currently riding on board with Aeon Blades of the Toyota team, currently riding in first on 3-lap-old soft tires. The question is he going to dive into the pits? Yes, he is. So that's Aeon Blades going into the pits. James decides to continue. So he goes up into first. King David, who is going into the pits, but he has no front wing. So it's going to be a new front wing for the Ford driver. His teammate Shug's Life follows him through. BKS of the Ford team goes through and does not pit. So he moves himself into second as Kingsholm gets himself a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So, Aeon Blades, who did pit, comes out in 5th position, so does not lose too many positions after that pit stop. As King David is currently on the soft compound tires. Did he start on mediums or softs? I am not sure. I believe it was the mediums that King David did start on.
Yeah, he's gone very aggressive on those softs compared to his teammate behind him. He's gone for the hards. I wonder if King Sean will actually pit again at the end of the lap to try and get rid of that penalty. He'll only lose 1 or 2 positions.
Yep. So I'll ride on board because I do want to... Snooker, how many penalties does... He has a 5-second penalty as well, and he has not stopped. So I'll actually ride on board with Snooker to see what it is that he does, as James, who's leading all of these drivers, just makes his way to the safety car. Well, I don't know if you've been following this entire time, but we'll see what it is that Snooker does.
It's been an incredible drive from James so far. He started outside the top 10, already up into P1, only 5 laps in. Obviously he didn't stop, but he's in a great position.
So Snooker decides to stay out, so not serving that time penalty. What is Kingsholm going to do? Yep, you are correct.
He's going to pit. Yeah, smart move, I think. May actually lose out to Ibrad and end up at the back, but I'm sure he won't mind. He'd rather be at the back than have a 5-second penalty looming over his head. I assume that Snooker is probably waiting for another safety car to try and serve that penalty.
He would be, yep, he's on the medium compound tires that he started the race with. It's not, you know what? If you are anticipating that there is going to be another safety car, that, depending on what tire you're going to go on to, that's not too bad of a decision to not serve that penalty.
Yeah. Also, you've got people like King David, who's gone onto the softs very aggressive. He may be expecting another safety car. Maybe he just wants to get back up the field as quick as possible.
Yep, that's true.
So he's the only one on the softs. We have two drivers on the hard and Ibrad and Azure, who are both quite far back, but they're on the slowest tyre, so I'm sure they won't make much progress.
So will we get the call? Will the safety car be in, or is King's home a bit too far back?
Maybe a late call, because I'm sure you'll catch the train before the final corner. So it could be a very late call. So James is going to have to be on his coast. King's home's actually going pretty slow. Maybe wants it to stay out one more lap, maybe he's burning fuel. I don't know. But he is now on the back of the train, and it is in.
The latest of latest calls.
And I'm sure their tyres are going to be absolutely freezing. I haven't seen James Weaver at all. He's going to have very cold tyres. And he's gone. Yep,
and he's gone. So it looks like a pretty good jump for James of the Bentley team.
I think Robin's lining up a move on BKS. He's going around the outside.
Yep, and late on the brakes. But not able to make that move.
I think Aeon made a move behind as well. He's moved up a few positions mid-LAN.
Snooker has dropped about 6 positions.
Kingsholm from the back, he's already up into P9, now making a move for P8. On Anthony, he gets it done. Anthony looks pretty slow. He may have front wing damage. Maybe he just made a mistake. Looks like he has front wing damage. Yeah, he definitely has front wing damage. He's letting everyone go through to make sure he doesn't hinder anybody else.
Yep, so I'm currently on board with King's Home. Just coming up to the back of the Monster Energy driver of Liam Esk.
Now riding on board as well.
Yep, and will Shugs let him through? He should, because...
Yeah, and he does as well.
Yep, so it's up into P5 for King David. As Ibrad and Snooker are battling, and Ibrad comes out in 10th position.
Yeah. Going up to Aeon Blaze.
Yep. And
King David's waiting behind as well.
And
King David gets the switch back.
Yep, and makes a move, as well as Robin made the move on Aeon. So Aeon Blaze lost, what, 2 positions, basically?
And King David has gained 2 positions down that straight. They're 3 wide behind. And Shugs has lost 2 positions there to Liam. And King Sean Shugs is on back and the teammates collide. They're both round.
Ford drivers colliding into each other. That is unfortunate for the Ford team. I'm not sure if you can see, can you see if any of them sustained damage, either Shugs or...
I think King Sean has damage. He's going very slow through the middle sector. Shugs seems like he's maybe okay.
Currently riding on board with King David has made...
they both have damage.
That is unfortunate. So King David of the Ford team just made a move on BKS to go up into 2nd place. So those soft tires are doing plenty for the Ford driver at this moment.
It's fine, he's probably going to take the lead very soon as well, but it's whether a safety car is rightly timed or he can get the strategy right after this stint to maintain that lead.
As King David sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:29.761, I am on board with Azure, and he has just made up a place on Shug's Life, as Shug's Life dives into the pits.
Yeah. So they were side by side, and Shugs lifted to come into the pits, so we didn't see an incident similar to what we did earlier with James and King Sean.
I'm currently riding on board with Robin, but it looks like Liam Mask is making a move and makes a move on Robin to go up into 5th.
The leaders are battling as well. King David goes straight down the inside. He tried to make a move at turn 4 as well, but he does make it at turn 8 on James. And Anthony has managed to jump Shugs and King Sean. He pit the lap earlier and King Sean retires in the pit lane.
So as it stands, as we're on lap 9 of 29, it is King David of the Ford team serving as a reserve. He's currently in 1st place, followed by James of the Bentley team in 2nd. BKS not too far behind of the Porsche team in 3rd. As we have yellow flags, Milan Massimo is around.
That is his 3rd or 4th spin in snooker.
Yep. As Snooker gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting, and that's because of that unsafe rejoin.
James has got no ERS, trying to stay within the DRS of King David, trying to gain as much time as possible. But he will probably fall out at the end of this straight. It's probably the last time he'll get DRS off of King David.
So I'm currently riding on board with Robin of the Bentley team. No DRS though. That's weird. I don't know if DRS should be enabled, so I'm not sure why he didn't have the DRS open.
It's quite unusual, but he does have a lot of ERS compared to Liam. So does Ibrad. So Liam may end up losing quite a few positions here. Ibrad on those hards, the highest person out of the hards, Azor is just behind him.
So we'll see. Yep. So Robin does have his DRS open going down this 2nd DRS zone. So that was kind of interesting that he did not have his DRS open in that 1st DRS zone. But
the BKS has DRS on James as well, but it may be smart for him just to not make a move, and these guys work together to make sure that King David doesn't gain too much time on them.
So currently riding on board with, let's see, BKS. Don't think he'll be able to catch James. So I'll ride on board with Robin. It is DRS wide open for the Bentley driver. Will he be able to catch Liam S in that Monster Energy, as Liam S goes defensive, and that is an easy move. Well, relatively easy, but Liam S is trying to fight back. Will he fight back? They're still side by side. Who gets DRS? It's Liam S, but Robin has made the position up. Will Liam S be able to go late on the brakes? He does. A bit of contact. And Ibrad, yep, into P6. So, unfortunate set of circumstances for Robin. Goes from 5th to 7th in a very short span of time.
Smart from Ibrad. He just waited behind, waited for something to happen and capitalised when Robin had to back out away from Liam.
Currently riding on board, actually, I'll go up to BKS of the Porsche team, who is following just behind James of the Bentley team, but it looks like Ibrad and Liam S. It's a bit of a battle going on for this 5th place position, as Anthony of the Porsche team...
Shug's let him through.
Oh.
Bit of an interesting one. On board and
James has pitted.
Let's go for the undercut on King David. It's a set of softs, so he's doing another stop after this also. They won't go to the end, maybe anticipating a safety car.
So I'm riding on board with Ibrad. He just made a pass on Liam S to go into 5th place, as Milan Massimo also just drove right past the Monster Energy driver of Snooker to go into 8th.
I wonder if James knew he was going to get overtaken by BKS inside the pit. Didn't want to lose time battling, but it's an interesting pit stop because he's put himself way down the order. He's going to have to fight his way back up.
And he's on a pair of softs as well.
I mean, he's gone aggressive. Could work, or if there's no safety car, it could turn out to be a very poor call.
Yeah. So currently riding on board with Liam Esk, who's just following behind Ibrad of the Toyota team. And just behind Liam Esk is Robin of the Bentley team.
Ibrad's trying to break out of the DRS, then mediums are going to be dropping off. These guys may be thinking about a pit stop soon. In fact, Robin is in as we speak.
So Robin heads into the pits. We will see what tire he decides to put on. It's a set of hards.
They'll go to the end. James is going for a move on Snooker. Set a purple final sector, and he goes down the inside at turn 1. Comfortable move. Softs compared to pretty old mediums. I assume Snooker will not fight back.
So that's a move for James of the Bentley team into 8th place. Oh, Snooker went very wide, and Milan is around.
Yeah, he's spun a lot today. This is not one of his favourite tracks. It certainly won't be after this, if it was before. But Shug's let Anthony through a few laps to go, and now he's just sticking with him. Maybe knows that Anthony has slightly more pace and just trying to work with him, because they both, after them crashes, end up in an unfavourable position. And there's a yellow flag. That's Milan again.
So I'm currently riding on board as BKS.
Milan's out.
Yep. And
He spun it in a straight line.
I don't know if this will be a safety car. It is.
It is.
So let us see.
That is perfect for King David.
Yep, because he's already passed the safety car, so advantageous for him. You have BKS, who is just
James is pitting again.
Pit. Now, what will it be for him?
He'll probably go for mediums and go to the end. He does. But he'll be disappointed because he's only pitted a few laps ago for softs, and it's not worked out. The safety car came too soon for him. I assume the top 4 will all pit.
Snooker got himself a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He has just pitted and is now on a set of hard compound tires.
Anthony stayed out on 5-lap old mediums. He'll struggle to get them to the end, but it is possible. He'll be very slow at the end of the race. May actually come in this next lap.
So I'm currently riding on board with King David. It is assumed that he is going to make a pit stop, most likely.
It'd be crazy if he doesn't make a pit stop.
Yeah. I agree. As Aeon Blaze gets a drive-through for speeding under the safety car, and he's in 2nd place. That is
going to mess up his race.
Yeah.
Can't serve it under the safety car.
A little bit careless by the Toyota driver.
He's going to end up last. I assume he'll pit, but he's going to end up right at the back after he serves that drive-through. Which is P11, so he's still got a good chance. In fact, he stays out.
So King David is in the pits. He is putting on a set of medium compound tires.
Ibrad and Aeon both stayed out on all tyres, which is probably a big mistake, but maybe on track position, maybe expecting another safety car. I don't know. Aeon actually overtakes the safety car. He's got to be careful here. He's disqualified.
He's out.
And we're down to 10. sure King Sean regrets retiring in the pit lane now, because he would have a good shot.
Yeah.
Maybe even the win, after we saw some of his overtaking earlier. You never know what can happen in these races.
Yeah, that's why it truly is never really worth it to pit or to retire during a race, unless it's like the last maybe 3 or 2 laps, then maybe. But if there's a whole race ahead, like anything can happen.
It's crazy. I remember in China, there was a safety car restart. I got front wing damage, so I decided to retire with about 5 laps left, and then there was somehow another safety car, and I couldn't benefit from it because I was out the race.
Yeah.
Yeah, but unless you get lapped, because this game doesn't allow lap cars to overtake, it is really probably not worth retiring in the pit lane on most occasions.
Currently riding on board with Ibrad. He is on a set of 10-lap-old hard tires. What is his plan?
He probably thinks there'll be another safety car. That's the only thing I can think of, but
Yeah.
I don't understand why I wouldn't pit for the mediums, which would easily go to the end.
So Snooker is actually in the pits right now. And he speeds in the pit.
I'm pretty sure he came in to serve a 5-second penalty, and in doing so he managed to get himself another one.
Oh, man. So it is a pair of soft tires for Snooker of the Monster Energy team.
Ooh, that'll be close for him to get into the end. He'll probably make it, but it'll be very slow at the end if there isn't another safety car. He probably needs another safety car to not finish P10.
So as we are currently on lap 16 of this 29-lap race, I will go to the comment section of the stream.
Monster Energy were they're not the quickest set of drivers, but they've got 3 drivers still in the race. If you've got drivers in the race, you've got a good chance of scoring good points.
Yep. So Big Weir asks, this is pot promotion week, right? And the answer to that question is yes, it is.
I think the safety car will come in once Snooker catches up to the train. There we go.
Yep. So the safety car is in this lap, and it will be Ibrad of the Toyota team who will be setting the pace for all of these remaining 10 drivers left in this race.
He stays very close to the safety car. King David should just fly past him on those new mediums.
As King David is trying to get a jump. And Ibrad is off.
Well, that's going to bring King David back into play. He may go for it down the inside on those new tyres, and he does.
Is he going to? Yep, he does. And that is P1 for King David. And will Liam Esk follow him through? Yes!
Liam Robbins come in as well.
So it's side by side between Ibrad and Liam Esk. And Ibrad does a very good job around the outside, and we still have 2 cars, almost 3, as Ibrad gets himself a 3-second time penalty, and Ibrad is...
Robin backs out.
Ibrad made a bit of contact. I believe that is what I saw.
I think it's going to hold position now. They do. Very close behind, around P7, in a very slow round turn 10. Snooker hasn't been able to make any progress on those softs. Maybe just biding his time, not wanting to make another mistake and lose his front wing.
And look at King David. 2 seconds that he has broke already.
Yeah, that battling behind really helped him to break away, and he should keep on extending that gap and win quite comfortably from here on those mediums, which is the better tyre to be on at this stage. Shugs used all his deployment already, mainly leaving vulnerable to Snooker behind. He's got his full battery to play with. Anthony's going for a move on, as you are as well.
Yep. Side by side for the Porsche and Monster Energy drivers, and it is the it is the Porsche driver of Anthony and James following through.
And BKS may do the same. He does. He goes for it late on the brakes. Wow,
that was King's home-esque.
It was perfect. Very late on the brakes and made the apex. I didn't run wide at all. Anthony's actually on quite old mediums, but we know he's got the raw pace to counteract that. And he's looking for another move. Ibrad's looking for a move on Liam. He may have the pace on those old hards, but the wear is going to mean he can't get the traction down off these slow corners, which is quite key to making an overtake at Bahrain.
Currently riding on board with Anthony of the Porsche team, and he is getting very close to the Bentley driver of Robin.
He thought about going for it, but he turned off his ERS and probably wait for turn 1.
As DRS has been enabled, as that is an easy move for the Porsche driver of Anthony.
Robin isn't even defending, and James may even make a move.
Yep.
Robin used absolutely none of his ERS.
I believe it's most likely, I'm assuming, that Robin let James through. They are teammates, so maybe hoping that James will...
vulnerable to BKS behind. BKS.
Now, Robin does have DRS, but James, you see, James is now battling with Anthony, and James has made his way past Anthony to go into 4th. So it seems like the teamwork is making the dream work again.
Robin may have lost 2 or 3 positions because of it, but James definitely benefited massively, and he's going to chase after that P2 now.
So BKS, I'm currently on board with DRS wide open. Will he be able to get up to Robin following in the slipstream? No, he will not.
He'll probably wait for the straight, because I think Robin may just drop out of DRS, unfortunately for him.
Yep. So I'll stay on board with BKS, and he is quite close to Robin at this point.
Oh, he's going for it. Oh no, he's going to back out and get the DRS.
He backs out. He thought better of it.
Yeah, I think Robin just missed out on DRS from the train in front, so he's going to get overtaken here. And Azure, we're close to the back of him, but definitely not close enough to make a move.
Yep, so that's BKS of the Porsche team going into 6th place as he overtakes Robin of the Bentley team.
Huge fight for P2. I think Anthony actually got caught out by Liam and Ibrad breaking early on those older hards, and he's lost a bit of time, but should be able to just catch back up. Liam is defending pretty well.
It's a bit of a lockup for Anthony.
Looks like he's struggling. Those old mediums obviously wearing quite a bit. This is perfect for King David. He's just extending that gap, and without another safety car, he will win this race, I'm sure.
So I'm going to stay on board with BKS, and Anthony is really going to have to fight to try and stay within that 1 second gap of James, which it looks like he is going to accomplish that mission as Robin gets himself a 3-second time penalty.
Anthony has managed to get back in DRS, but it cost him a lot of his battery, but it was probably worth it.
As I'm currently on board, Ibrad makes a pass on Liam Esk.
James goes for his well down the inside of them both.
Down the inside. Liam Esk ends up coming out in second, and James moves up to third.
Not going for it. He's not got the tyres, I don't think. Ibrad's on old tyres too, so this should be interesting to go around the outside. Ibrad has him covered.
And I'm wondering if Anthony may let BKS through, his teammate.
You would think so. Again, why would he still have 8 or 9 laps to go? He may fancy his chances at moving up himself.
As Ibrad goes a little bit wide into that turn, this may help Anthony, although I don't believe he will be able to make a move into this turn. He will not. But you can see the tire wear is hindering Anthony.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a mistake for him not to pit. But only he'll know his reasons for doing that. And James went very deep at turn 1, which actually benefited Liam most out of everyone. But James is now looking for that move on Liam, and he should get it done down the straight.
Yep, so it's red light flashing for Liam S. That means he is low on ERS.
Ibrad pits.
Ibrad pits, so that promotes Anthony into 4th.
He's going for the softs. Shugs pits 2. She's quite an interesting one because he would have gained a position if he stayed out. Oh, he has front wing damage.
We have yellow flags in sector 1. Who is
Robin's
that?
round.
Robin.
He was fighting around BKS and Azure, I think, so maybe there was a bit of contact, so maybe he just spun all by himself. I think he has front wing damage, so he'll have to pit at the end of this lap, which will probably drop him down to 9th.
So I'm currently riding on board with Anthony, who is on those 13-lap old medium tires in comparison to Liam Esk ahead of him, who is on 6-lap old hards.
And them hards will only get better and better compared to the mediums.
Yep.
But they're not very good for him at the moment. And Anthony may make a move, BKS may try and make a move also. He's on the freshest tyres of everyone in that midfield group.
So it is going to be DRS for the Porsche driver of Anthony, as Liam Esk basically gives way to the Porsche driver as well as the other Porsche driver behind Anthony. So that is...
He's defenseless.
Yep. So Anthony moves into 3rd. Yep. Anthony moves into 3rd. BKS moves up into 4th, and Liam Esk of Monster Energy drops into 5th place.
Anthony's showing no signs of letting BKS through. He might fancy his chances of a P2 up against James, and Robin is into the pit with that front wing damage. He will actually drop to last place. And the DNF.
Yeah, the tires.
Which I don't quite understand because he was running in the top 10.
Yeah. Well, for this, it is everyone does get points for these races. Yeah.
Even if they're DNF.
Yeah. See, I'm not sure about if they DNF. I'm not sure about that. So currently riding on board with BKS, who is following behind his teammate Anthony, both Porsche drivers in 3rd and 4th.
Should just let him through.
Would seem as if that would make the most sense for the team.
Oh, no, he's not pitting. even baited me with that.
He's trying to trick us, not even his own teammate.
Maybe Anthony feels that BKS just doesn't have the pace to catch James and he wants to hold that position for himself. But Liam may make a comeback in this race once those hearts start to come into their own.
So as it is right now, it is King David who is reserving for the Ford team. He is currently in first place, has made up 15 positions, started in 16th, now in first. You have James of the Bentley team, who has made up 10 positions, in second. You have Anthony, who has made up 12 positions, of the Porsche team, in third. His teammate, who has made up 5 positions, in fourth place. Liam Esk, who has made up 5 positions, is now in fifth. Azir Wings, who has made up 7 positions from the start of this race, is in sixth. Seventh place, another Monster Energy driver, Snooker, who has only fallen 2 places from the beginning of this race, is now in seventh. Ibrad of the Toyota team, currently in 8th. And finally, Shug's Life of the Ford team, who has made up 2 places, in 9th, as we are on lap 25 of this 29-lap race.
I think Anthony is actually catching James in front of him, and they both have similar ERS. So that could go down to the last lap because they are quite similar on pace. I think Anthony just has the edge at the moment. And Ibrad also on the fresher tyres than Snooker in front, that will be looking to take that P7 off of the Monster Energy driver.
Yep, so this will be interesting to see what it is that Anthony can do with 4.5 laps remaining in this race.
It'll be interesting to know what his tyre wear is. Obviously there has been safety cars, but mediums certainly aren't meant to go 20 laps, which he's going to have to do on them if he wants to make it to the end.
Oh wow.
Now Laguna in season 2 on Monday did make it to the end, 20 laps on mediums here at Bahrain, and took the win.
Wow.
See if Anthony can do something similar.
So Shug's Life, who's currently in 9th position, gets himself a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. You now have, as Anthony's red light is flashing, and it looks like Anthony is giving way to his teammate BKS, and BKS moves himself up into 3rd position now. James goes deep.
That's not going to help him because he's now got these 2 Anthony's rounds.
Oh, wow. So BKS side by side, and BKS is around half around as he made contact with James. So both Porsche drivers, set of unfortunate circumstances for
Gone
both
from
of
being
them.
in a position where they could get a double podium to now being 3rd and 7th. And I think Anthony may lose this position to Ibrad. And I won't be surprised if he pits and goes to that fastest lap. He should get out ahead of Shugs, and even if he doesn't, it should be an easy overtake for him on fresh softs if he pits. Which would probably be the smart move.
Currently riding on board with Ibrad of the Toyota team, DRS wide open. Will he make this move on the Porsche driver? They are side by side. And yep, relatively easy. Anthony just does not have the grip anymore.
His tyres are done. I don't know why he didn't pit under the safety car, and that's cost him probably a podium in this race.
So I'm riding on board with Anthony. Will he pit? I mean, he might as well.
He's got to pit, surely. Yeah.
Yep.
Be interesting to see if he can get out ahead of Shug. I think he's going to be close.
I think he should be able to. Well, we'll see what happens. So
Blood with Shugs.
soft tires for Anthony. And yeah, he's relatively late or far up in the pit lane, but it is
Comes to the end
somewhat
of the
close.
pit lane, but Shugs has got the momentum. He's going to be very close. Shugs will get the RS down to turn 4, but he probably won't go for a move.
Yep, so it's DRS4, Shug's Life of the Ford team, going a little bit wide. But Anthony will be able to hold on to that 8th place position as Ibrad now passed Snooker of the Monster Energy team to go into 6th position.
Yeah, he's got a lot of pace at the moment, but I think 6 is his limit. If Snooker makes a mistake, Anthony may just be able to get P7 with all them penalties for Snooker, but that is unlikely, and he will have to make quite a large mistake for that to happen.
And it's interesting, it looks like BKS is making his way, falling back a little bit now. He was within 1.1 seconds of James just a moment ago. I'm just wondering if there should have been team orders in play, and if Anthony should have let BKS through.
Yeah, probably should have done it early. I think Anthony believed in his own ability and thought he had the pace to maybe take P2 despite him being on those very old mediums. And maybe he just pushed slightly too hard. Caused that spin. BKS may just be able to get up into P2, but I think that spin and that little half spin has done it for him. Just maybe overheated his tyres, worn them out a bit more than James is in front of him. He's not going to get DRS down the main straight unless James makes a mistake into the next corner, which he doesn't.
So King David rounds the final turn as he will be commencing the final lap of this race, and he has been comfortably out in front in first place for a lot of this race.
Yeah, he's dominated the race since the last safety car restart, and I've actually just looked at the race director, and James has 2 track limits warnings, so he's going to have to be careful.
Oh wow.
Otherwise he could get himself a penalty.
That's
Anthony takes
Anthony.
the fastest lap.
Yep, with a 1:28.160 for the Porsche driver.
As we expected, and he's only for a couple of seconds away from taking that P7 off of Snooker.
Oh yeah.
And Ibrad is catching up to the back of Azure and Liam in front of him, but he has a penalty, and he shouldn't be able to make a move unless they make a mistake. But Azure could get past Liam.
Yeah, he is catching. Currently riding on board with King David as he is about to cross the start-finish line. Comfortable win for the reserve driver for Ford today as he finishes the race in first. It is James of the Bentley team in second place, BKS of the Porsche team in third, Liam Esk of the Monster Energy team in fourth, Azure of the Monster Energy team in fifth. You have Ibrad finishing in sixth. As Anthony, yep, he has covered the 11 seconds. And that will be promoting him up into seventh, as he also sets the fastest lap with a 1:28.130. And finally, Shugs of the Ford team finishes out this 29 lap race. There you have
It's a great race. Slightly lower down in action towards the end.
Mm-hmm. And somewhat chaotic as well.
Yeah, at the start, first half of the race followed on from the sprint. I think everyone was in ultra aggressive mode, and it just
backfired for some. So
yeah.
I will go through the finishing positions for this Bahrain Grand Prix. So it's King David of the Ford team serving as a reserve today, coming home in first. James of the Bentley team in second. BKS of Porsche in third. Liam Esk of the Monster Energy team in fourth. Azure Wings of the Monster Energy team in fifth. Ibrad of the Toyota team in sixth. Anthony of the Porsche team in seventh, Snooker of the Monster Energy team in eighth. You have Shug's Life of the Ford team in ninth, Robin of the Bentley team, and this is the start of the runners who did not finish. So Robin in 10th, Milan Massimo in 11th, King's Home in 12th, Flea 1996 in 13th, Mr. Basil in 14th, Walter in 15th, and Aeon Blades rounds out the field in 16th place.
Deserved win for King David. Great race from him. Started at the back, finishing second in the sprint, but obviously it cost fighters who finished first. Left before the main race, and King David made the right strategy calls, had the pace, and really dominated.
Yep, so that is it for our Thursday Formula 4 coverage of Limitless Formula Racing. We would like to thank everyone who joined in this broadcast. If you do not mind, if you could like this video as well as subscribe to the channel if you have not already. For the next race that will be coming up next week as we commence week 7 of the league, we will be heading to Italy, as it will be the race taking place at Imola for the Monday Limitless drivers. On Monday, that will be taking place at 7:30 UK time. So, as for myself and the Aston Martin Monday Limitless 1 driver, my co-commentator today, Apex Finley, we would like to bid you all adieu. Take care.